Mr. Sergeant at Arms.
All persons not entitled to privileges of the floor under the rules of the Senate must now vacate the chamber.
Please rise for the invocation by Deacon Michael Lynch, Good Shepherd Catholic Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Oh, Heavenly Father, in a world so often divided, help each of these senators to find common ground among them. May they value every voice, especially the marginalized and the poor, and may they work together with empathy and respect for all. Let their actions bring healing and hope and peace to the people whom they represent. Gracious God, grant our senators clear minds and discerning hearts. May they seek truth above personal gain. May they listen with humility. May they act with courage for the good of all. Guide their decisions so that they reflect justice and mercy and charity. O Lord our God, strengthen the moral compass of all those who serve in legislative roles in our state. May honesty be their foundation, transparency their practice, and service their highest calling. This prayer and the prayers of each and every man and woman in this chamber, I ask of you, the one true God of the universe. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Senator Berg.
Very quietly.
Senator Boswell. Senator Carpenter. Senator Carroll. Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Clemens. Senator Deneen. Senator Douglas. Senator Elkins. Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Girdler. Senator Givens. Senator Herron. Senator Higdon. Senator Howell. Senator Maiden. Senator Mays-Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Meredith. Senator Mills. Senator Neal. Senator Nemes. Senator Nunn. Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Rawlings. Senator Reed. Senator Richardson. Senator Smith. Senator Stivers. Senator Storm. Senator Thomas. Senator Tishner. Senator Webb. Senator West. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Wilson. Senator Wise.
Here. There being 38 members present, a quorum is declared. Senate is authorized and prepared to do business. No need for excuse of absent senators, so we shall go to approval of the journal. Senator from Taylor.
Mr. President, I move that the journal for Monday, February 9th, 2026 be approved as written.
Without objection, the journal for Monday, February 9th, 2026 is approved as written. Senator from Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today was a busy day in the annex. I heard that there were 175 meetings that took place within the Senate from our doorkeeper that was there today. And with that, we welcome all of our guests that made their way to the annex, and as well as those that are watching us live from KET, as well as live streaming, or some that may be in the annex watching our deliberations today. So we welcome all those watching us online or at home.
Yes, we do, and we appreciate the fact everybody wants to come here, and it seems like
was fast-paced, and the pace has definitely picked up from last week.
Definitely day 24, Mr. President.
It is here. So with that, there being no need for a second reading of bills on the calendar, order of business would be report of committees. Mr. Clerk, would you please report?
The Agriculture Committee has met and reports Senate Bill 45 should pass. Senate Bill 155 should pass. The Banking and Insurance Committee has met and reports Senate Bill 118 should pass with Senate Committee Sub 1. Senate Bill 153 should pass with Senate Committee Sub 1. And Senate Bill 158 should pass. The Families and Children's Committee has met and reports Senate Bill 160 should pass. And the Licensing and Occupation Committee has met and reports Senate Bill 98 should pass, and Senate Bill 145 should pass.
Does that conclude your report? All those bills and resolutions receiving favorable committee reports shall be deemed as having their first reading and are ordered to be placed upon the calendar. Next order of business would be introduction of new bills and resolutions, but before I do that, Chair would recognize the Senator from Grayson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Clerk of the House is here to communicate with our Senate.
Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, the House has passed House Bill 748, 266, and respectfully request concurrence of this honorable body.
Thank you, young man. Now we will go on to introduction of new bills and resolutions. Mr. Clerk, you have a report.
I do.
Please proceed.
New bills and resolutions. Senate Bill 174, an act relating to the supervision of pharmacy technicians, Senator Richardson. Senate Bill 175, an act relating to the establishment of the Kentucky Health Command, Senator Meredith. Senate Bill 176, an act relating to campaign finance, Senator Mills. Senate Bill 177, an act relating to speech-language pathologists, Senator Girdler. Senate Resolution 92, resolution adjourning the Senate in loving memory and honor of Stephen D. Doolittle, Senator Carroll. Senate Resolution 93, a resolution recognizing Terry Martin as the recipient of the 2026 Truck Dealer of the Year Award from the American Truck Dealers Association, Senator Storm. Senate Resolution 94, resolution adjourning the Senate in honor of the 2025-2026 Kentucky Optometric Association President, Dr. Hannah Huffman, Senator Storm.
Report?
It does.
All right, thank you, sir. Next order of business would be orders of the day. Senator from Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The orders are displayed for us. With that, I move that Senate Bill 136 be taken from its place in the orders of the day, read for the third time by title only, and placed upon its passage.
Mr. Clerk, if you would, please report Senate Bill 136.
Senate Bill 136, an act relating to unemployment insurance, Senator Funky Fromeyer.
Senator from Taylor.
Mr. President, I yield to the Senator from Campbell for explanation of the bill.
Senator from Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 136 is an act relating to unemployment insurance fraud. It is very simple, and Secretary Link did acknowledge that there were a few nuances from last session that we need to make adjustments so that it's very clear and very straightforward. Effectively, we are striking the language, the Kentucky Justice of Public Safety Cabinet, and we're adding back in with more clarity the word and the United States Department of Labor, so that in the event there's a suspect of fraud, that we've got the right people being involved. In fact, in this last period of time, our prosecutors in the county, they will make a decision to prosecute, typically if the fraud is above $500. But the prosecutors are those that will take action first. So, Mr. President, when there is fraud, it's very important that those dollars be placed back in the unemployment trust, and that will happen. We do know that these dollars are precious, and they need to be available for those that truly need them. This is an effort to clean up what I will say has been a debacle in recent years, and we want to keep things on the right track. With that, Mr. President, I move for passage of Senate Bill 136.
The matter before the body is passage of Senate Bill 136. Seeing no one seeking recognition, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Berg, Senator Boswell, Senator Carpenter, Senator Carroll, Senator Chambers Armstrong, Senator Clemens, Senator Deneen, Senator Douglas, Senator Elkins, Senator Funky Fromeyer, Senator Girdler, Senator Givens, Senator Herron, Senator Higdon, Senator Howell, Senator Maiden, Senator Mays Bledsoe, Senator McDaniel, Senator Meredith, Senator Mills, Senator Neal, Senator Nemes, Senator Nunn, Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Rawlings, Senator Reed, Senator Richardson, Senator Smith, Senator Stivers, Senator Storm, Senator Thomas, Senator Tishner, Senator Webb, Senator West, Senator Wheeler, Senator Williams, Senator Wilson, Senator Wise.
Any member seeking recognition to change or explain their vote? Seeing none, there being 38 yeas, no nays, Senate Bill 136 is passed. Senator from Taylor.
Mr. President, I move that Senate Bill 183 be taken from its place in the orders of the day, read for the third time by title only, and placed upon its passage.
Mr. Clerk, would you please report?
Senate Bill 183, an act relating to the regulation of proxy advisory services. Senator Nunn.
Senator from Taylor.
President, I yield to the Senator from Scott for explanation of the bill.
Senator from Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. We could call this Senate Bill 183 2.0. Last year, we passed Senate Bill 183 to protect Kentucky state pension holders from activist investors who seek to push their ideological agendas on our society through publicly traded companies, typically to the detriment of the company's employees and investors. This year, I sponsored Senate Bill 183 to protect every Kentuckian that works at or invests in a publicly traded company by ensuring transparency and accountability in proxy voting advice. Proxy advisors are firms paid to provide research, ratings, and recommendations on how shareholders should vote on corporate matters. Things like board elections, mergers or corporate restructuring, and most importantly, shareholder proposals. They are the perfect vehicle for activist investors because they influence or control large percentages of shareholder votes. This bill ensures proxy advisors act in the best interest of a company's employees and investors in two ways. Number one, it requires disclosure to investors or persons acting on their behalf when a proxy advisor is giving advice that is not solely in investors' interests, potentially sacrificing investor returns to a negative impact on the company's operations. Secondly, it provides enforcement mechanisms whereby failure to comply is treated as a deceptive trade practice under Kentucky consumer protection law. Let me be clear about what this bill does not do. It does not prohibit proxy advisors from giving up recommendations they believe are appropriate. It does not tell any investors how they must vote, and it does not require publicly traded companies doing business in Kentucky to do anything. This legislation puts the transparency burden solely on the proxy advisors. In summary, this legislation requires truth in proxy advice. If a proxy advisor is using non-financial factors, this bill says disclose it clearly and back it up with economic analysis. While most Kentuckians will never personally hire a proxy advisor, the reality is these firms greatly influence votes tied to Kentuckians' retirement accounts. And if they work for a publicly traded company, it affects their job. That's why I filed this bill. I care deeply about protecting the retirement accounts and jobs of Kentuckians. That is a nonpartisan issue, Mr. President. With that, I move for passage of Senate Bill 183. The matter before the body is passage of Senate Bill 183.
There being members seeking recognition, Senator from Fayette, 13.
Thank you, Mr. President. To speak briefly against the bill.
Please proceed.
Mr. President, the Senator from Scott spoke accurately about what proxy advisory firms do, so there's no need for me to talk about that. But he is correct when he talks about, we're talking about a small group of people. We're talking about a niche group of investors. So unless you own 100,000 shares, say, of NVIDIA or Amazon stock, no one's going to buy or retain a proxy advisory firm because they cost several $100,000 to do that. So we're talking about maybe 50 Kentuckians being impacted by this bill. Okay? But what this bill does, Mr. President, more importantly, is that it requires these proxy advisory firms, if they're going to talk about social, environmental, government issues, such as, do I want to invest in a firm that does cleaner energy? Or I'm concerned about world peace. I want to invest in a company that's more concerned about world peace. Those companies have to go to an extensive and painstaking disclosures about why you should do that. And as I said in the committee, people have a whole host of reasons, not just the bottom line is how much it's going to enrich my pockets, but other concerns that are equally noble, equally justifiable. For instance, issues concerning diversity, equity, inclusion, DI. That may be an importance in an investor deciding how to vote. And no company should be limited by free speech or any other concerns regarding how they want to know about issues about a company before they make a decision. I think it's also noteworthy, and I think it's responsible, that our staff at the Senate Democratic Caucus took a deep dive into this and found out that this very bill, because this is a model bill that's been passed around to several states, is already under an injunction in Texas. And while a trial is taking place on this very bill right now in Texas, the Texas federal court has enjoined this bill from any use because it says it does violate the Constitution. It does limit free speech. And so therefore, this bill cannot take effect in Texas. I suspect that if this bill passes, Kentucky will see that same kind of injunction here. So for those reasons, Mr. President, I'm going to urge the body to vote no. I certainly will be a no on this bill.
Senator from Campbell.
To speak on the bill.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm a certified financial planner, and there are a number of designations in the financial services industry that require you to be a fiduciary. And in order to carry such a designation, the fiduciary standard is one in which you must do what's in the best interest of your constituent, your client, those who you're providing that advice to. What I appreciate about the senator from Scott is the ability to parse this out in a more specific way so that we can, again, provide a little bit more clarity and a little bit more direction so that if a person is receiving advice that is being influenced but not impartial, then it's required disclosure. So that this recognition around conflicts of interest can be set forth more clearly. And not that a conflict of interest means a person's going to do the wrong thing, but it's most important that it's understood that they might be influenced in one direction over another. So this is like so many things that we've recognized. Disclosure is very important. Transparency is very important. Doing what's in the best interest, of course, is very important. So I do appreciate this, and I will be voting yes.
Senator from Fayette, 13, are you seeking further recognition? Because I have you still in the queue. I thought I cleared you off. There we go. All right. Any other members seeking recognition? Seeing none, Senator from Scott, do you have further need?
No, Mr. President.
Matter for the body is passage of Senate Bill 138. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Berg.
Senator from Jefferson 26, please cast your vote. then explain, limited to 3 minutes.
I vote no, and I strongly believe that people have the right, not only the right, the obligation sometimes to actually talk with their money, to actually walk with their money, and to invest their money in ways that they think will contribute towards the advancement of our society. And for people to pass a law saying, oh no, you can't do that unless you completely divulge, that's what the investor is asking for. We want our money to be invested in environmentally conscious and socially conscious investments. And this just makes it that much harder and honestly that much more expensive to do. So I am a no, and thank you.
Senator Boswell. Senator Carpenter. Senator Carroll. Senator Chambers Armstrong.
Senator from Jefferson 19, please cast your vote, then explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to explain my no vote.
Please proceed.
Thank you. The senator from Scott mentioned that this is version 2.0 of the bill, so I'll give version 2.0 of my speech in opposition. In my opinion, what this bill does do is it creates a lot of bureaucracy. It is bureaucracy sponsored by the government, and it is bureaucracy that directly restricts people's speech, restricts their First Amendment right. I think all of us, particularly people who believe in a conservative model of government, where government is small and rights are broad, should be worried when we start passing laws that restrict the ability of people to say what they believe and put forward things that promote their values and their goals. They should also be worried when we start adding layers of bureaucracy and creating investigations and civil fines and things tied to noncompliance for vaguely written laws that don't clearly define exactly what is allowed and what is prohibited. And when you look at this bill, it talks about pecuniary and non-pecuniary interest. And those are difficult terms to unpack and to understand. It might be a non-pecuniary interest for me to think about trees and deforestation if I'm selling hamburgers in Louisville, but deforestation in the environment, if I'm operating a pizza chain in Wolfe County, might be very important. And this bill gives no guidance on what is or is not permissible, when it does or does not cross the line into becoming something that could impact your bottom line. And so what we are doing is we are chilling people's speech and their ability to say what they believe and their ability to get information about what they believe. I think that's un-American. That's a pretty bold thing to say, but I do believe that America is at its best when our speech rights are strong and our government power is clearly delineated and confined. And so for that reason, I vote no.
Senator Clemens. Senator Deneen. Senator Douglas. Senator Elkins. Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Girdler. Senator Givens. Senator Herron. Senator Higdon. Senator Howell. Senator Maiden. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Meredith. Senator Mills. Senator Neal. Senator Nemes. Senator Nunn. Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Rawlings. Senator Reed. Senator Richardson. Senator Smith. Senator Stivers.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Senator Thomas. Senator Tishner. Senator Webb. Senator West. Senator Wheeler.
Senator from Pike, please cast your vote, then explain, limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Explain my aye vote.
Please proceed.
I've listened to some of the commentary in the chamber today about, suppression of speech. This is not about suppressing speech. This is just about getting it on the record as to what the social goals of these people are. And as the senator from Fayette 13 talked about, this might, in his words, affect maybe 50 investors in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, because they're the only ones large enough to really be affected by this. Well, what that means is these are large investors, institutional investors that can afford to take a loss to promote their activism, while they're putting the small investor at risk and minimizing their return so they can maximize their social agenda. So what this bill is actually about protecting working class America, people that work hard to put that money away, that need a maximum return so that they can afford to live when they get older. You know, they have to have a return so that when they get older, they have enough money to support their families. These big bankers, these big institutional investors that promote ESG, DEI, and all these other concepts, you know, the fact that they may only make $175 million worth of versus $200 million, that may not mean anything to them. I mean, let's just real. When you get to that level, money's no object. Then it's about the message. But when you're talking about a working class family where every single dollar matters, they need to be protected from these people who have the knowledge from being exploited so that they can get a maximum return on the investments that they work every day and work hard for. So for that reason, I proudly cast an aye vote in favor of the legislation brought by the senator from Scott.
Senator Williams. Senator Wilson. Senator Wise.
Any members seeking to cast, change, or explain their vote? Had one. There being 32 yeas, 6 nays, Senate Bill 183 is passed. Senator from Taylor.
Mr. President, that concludes the orders of the day.
Thank you, Senator from Taylor. There being no need for the meeting of a committee or committees or rules committee and no report of those committees, then we will go to motions, petitions, resolutions, communications, and announcements. Senator from Taylor, you have a motion.
I do, Mr. President. I'd make a motion for the following for bill reading. I move that Senate Bill 172 be taken from the Natural Resources and Energy Committee, given its first reading, returned to the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy.
Without objection, Mr. Clerk, if you would please report Senate Bill 172.
Senate Bill 172, an act relating to utility fuel adjustment. Senator Wheeler.
Let the journal reflect that Senate Bill 172 has been taken from Natural Resources and Energy, given its first reading, and returned to Natural Resources and Energy. Any other member seeking recognition under this order of business? Senator from Grayson.
Communicate with the body, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
I often quote this scripture. It's Galatians 4:16, where St. Paul says, "Have I now become your enemy because I'm telling you the truth?" The reason I like that scripture is it's so human, because we don't like the truth. Because when you get the truth, it's a call to action. It's a call to change, and none of us like that. Last week we had a very difficult debate on trauma in rural Kentucky. And I'm constantly looking for solutions. One of the solutions that was offered is just wait for an ambulance and bypass your local hospital and get to your urban or regional miracle center as fast as you can. I think it's interesting that just a couple of days after that, an article came out that said that 92% of our counties have ambulance deserts. 110 counties out of 120 have ambulance deserts. So while you're waiting for that ambulance to take you to the regional miracle center, you're gonna die. And this is just part of the problem. I mentioned during my floor speech that frustrates me that I've presented several measures to improve healthcare in rural Kentucky that doesn't cost our state a cent. One being this trauma bill. Secondly, that the reduction of MCOs. Originally, when I filed that bill, we had 6. I asked for 3. 50% reduction in bureaucracy for Medicaid patients. And what that means in real terms, it gives providers more time to treat patients. And quite literally, if we had done that, a primary care doctor could see close to 1,000 more patients a year. And I was told, no, we don't want to do that. I tried to predict the 340B funding for rural hospitals this last session. $270 million it means to rural communities, the most desperate rural communities in our state. And I was told, no, we don't want to do that. Present a super speeder bill. Which again, doesn't cost our state a cent, but through fines for people going 25 miles over the speed limit, you get a $200 fine. It would have generated $10 million, which we could have used for trauma in rural Kentucky, and I was told, no, we don't want to do that. Also had a bill several years ago, actually a resolution that said, let's use our National Deprivation Index, which is a measure of 6 socioeconomic indicators nationally that's by zip code, and make our Medicaid payment policy reflect the most neediest in this state. Redirect those resources to people who need it the most. And I was told, no, we don't want to do that. So why did I desperately look for solutions? Because the ones I come up with obviously aren't the right ones. But to use a medical analogy, this isn't, what we're trying to do is treat the symptoms but not cure the disease. And what's the disease? Poverty in rural Kentucky. And I come here session after session wanting to address that, and we get ignored. And you look at the history of the state, how did we get there to begin with? Well, when I was a kid, one of the major economic components of my rural community was tobacco. And we killed that industry. Eastern Kentucky, it was coal. We killed that industry. What did we replace that with? What efforts did we make to replace that with? Nothing at all. Quite truthfully, over the last 40, 50 years, rural Kentucky has been treated like a second-class citizen. And you want further proof of that? Let me read something to you. This is a summary of the study that the University of Kentucky did on rural economy. The highlights of this were: 1, gross domestic product growth in Kentucky's 85 rural counties, which was 18%, was lower than the 35 urban counties, 49%, over a 20-year period. Slightly over 1 in 4 working adults in rural Kentucky have attained a degree beyond high school, compared to 41% of the same population in urban Kentucky. But even as you get that degree, here's what it means. On the average, rural Kentuckians earn 26% less than our urban neighbors per capita, and those with a bachelor's degree earn 40% less. Employees of rural Kentucky firms earn less than employees at urban Kentucky firms, regardless of size. The Bureau of Economic Analysis reports Kentucky has approximately 2 million jobs in 2023. Rural counties accounted for 32% of those jobs, while urban counties provided the majority, 68% of those jobs. Kentucky manufacturing sector has lost 47,000 jobs from 2001 to 2023. Losses in rural areas make up 68% of that total. A couple other studies that UK did. This was in 2008. And said, 1, Kentucky suffers from a lack of coordination between economic development, workforce development, community and technical colleges, public four-year universities, research parks, and tourism. And this conclusion is supported by statements of economic development officials in other states. A major reason for the slow growth in Kentucky is the slow income growth in the rural areas of the state, and the fact that more rapid growth in urban areas does not spill over to rural areas to the extent seen in comparison states of Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. And I think possibly, I've quoted other statistics specific to healthcare, such as that 42% of our population, only 17% of our primary care physicians are there. Also, 92% of our counties are ambulance deserts. But I think one of the most damning statistics, one the governor mentioned during his budget announcement, that over the last decade, 85% of economic development occurred in urban areas, even though rural Kentucky accounts for 41% of our population. When's it going to stop? We're truly treated like second-class citizens. I remember very distinctly in my first session in 2017, there was a lot of legislation that was passed that was considered anti-metropolitan Louisville. And I remember vividly a lady wrote a letter to the editor of the Courier-Journal in which she said, Metropolitan Louisville is a diamond surrounded by swampland. And she said, no disrespect to my rural friends, that was disrespect. For some reason, because we live in rural areas, I tell people, I was born in Louisville. When my family moved to Grace County, I was 8 years old. To my family who remained in the urban areas, my two sisters and I were half as smart, half as good looking, half as athletic as we used to be. Quite literally, we're looked down on, we're not as smart, we're not as sophisticated, we're not as educated, so that makes us something less. We're not. As Senator Bell said last week, we're not looking for a handout. We're looking for that hand up. We don't want to be treated differently. We just want our fair share. And when I quote this statistic to you, we're not getting our fair share. And I don't begrudge our urban communities anything at all. But I want to see our fair share, and it's not coming. We're in the middle of a budget session. And the budget, as I've heard, is the ultimate policy document. I want to see us put our money where our mouth is. I want to see at least 41% of whatever capital we have available to us go to rural communities. Quite truthfully, I think it should be 60% because we've been neglected for so long. Allow us to catch up. We got a big problem in trying to address the Medicaid budget right now. It will not happen if we don't address the problems in rural America. As a matter of fact, it will get worse. It's projected that our Medicaid budget could grow from $22 billion to $40 billion by 2030. That will bankrupt this state. And how do we improve the Medicaid program? We invest in rural Kentucky, create jobs, get people off of Medicaid. Meantime, we invest in our healthcare system, improve the health of the population, we save billions. I want our fair share. That's all I'm asking for. A couple of sessions ago, I challenged one of our caucus members over something I thought was very anti-rural. And he took great offense to that and followed me up to their chamber and said, you know, your problem is you're going to be known as one-trick pony. If my one trick is fighting for rural communities and fighting for equity and fair treatment, then I'll ride that horse until one of us dies or both of us dies. I want you to take this budget seriously. I want to see a real investment in rural Kentucky because there's tremendous payoff. Because let me tell you this, I'm good at predicting the future. If rural Kentucky fails, and it starts with our healthcare delivery system, when that healthcare delivery system fails, rural economy fails. And that's got a rippling effect. And suddenly whatever problems we have in rural Kentucky become urban problems. And you're going to be as challenged as we are today. I want a partnership. There's only one thing that works in life, and that's a symbiotic relationship. And what I've seen during my time here in this chamber and over the history of this state, it's not been a symbiotic relationship with rural Kentucky. I just ask would be treated fairly. It's that simple. And let's see if our budget document represents it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Kenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two items. First of all, an announcement.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Appropriations and Revenue Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in room 171 of the Annex.
Members, please take note.
Thank you, Mr. President. Then ask for action on resolutions.
Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would you please ask the clerk to report Senate Resolution 41 and read it by title only?
Mr. Clerk, if you would, please report Senate Resolution 41 by title only.
Senate Resolution 41, resolution adjourning the Senate in honor and loving memory of Jack Melvin Miller. Senator McDaniel.
Senator from Kenton.
Move adoption.
Matter for the body's adoption. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Further need?
Act on another resolution, Mr. President.
Please continue.
Mr. President, would you please ask the clerk to report Senate Resolution 64 and read it by title only?
Mr. Clerk, please report Senate Resolution 64 by title only.
Senate Resolution 64, a resolution congratulating Notre Dame Academy for its accomplishment of being recognized as a 2025 National Blue Ribbon School. Senator McDaniel.
Senator from Kenton.
Move adoption.
Matter for the body's adoption. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Senator from Kenton, no further need. We'll go to the senator from Jessamine.
2 items, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
The first item, Mr. President, being co-sponsorship request. With the permission of the primary sponsors, I move to be added as a co-sponsor to a number of bills which I have right here. I will not take the time to verbalize all of them, but I do have the proper paperwork.
Please file the same without objection. So ordered. Second item, Senator from
Announcement,
Jessamine.
Mr. President.
Please continue.
Government Contract Committee will meet upon adjournment of both chambers this afternoon in room 131.
Members, please take note. Senator from Perry.
Mr. President, I rise for 2 purposes, if you'll indulge me. The first is a point of personal privilege, if I might, to follow up on comments made by the senator from Grayson. When I came over from the House, I had really never seen a budget before, even though I'd been over there for almost a decade. What was neat is back then, Senator Williams would make us meet in AR every single day. As you all remember, we would meet up there on the second floor down by where David Gibbons' office used to be, I believe, and we would have to go page by page, and we'd have global issues that we'd mark up. But one of the first things I found was, I think it was a $20 million expense that went to the greater downtown area of Louisville to help them develop festivals and stuff, which obviously is a nice thing to get, but that was a little bit shocking to me. But there was another fund in there that I was surprised with, and it was on the Blue Stream mitigation. And I'm sure the Senate President will remember this. Philip Childers and I worked together. He was a senator from Knott County. He's deceased now, but anytime a coal company comes in to work on a piece of property, if there's anything on there that will collect water, that can be your driveway or drain, they have to mitigate that with a formula, and they basically pay to remove that. And so as these companies were paying to remove this, it was very expensive. That money could only be written to 2 checks. It could either go to the Greater Metropolitan Sanitation District of Louisville or the Salt River Project. That's the only place they could spend that money. So as it was coming out of Eastern Kentucky, it was being spent in areas not even anywhere close to. So Philip and I changed that, and we allowed it to come through our Fish and Wildlife for us to go back and restock, and we did. We went back in on the Goose Pond and put in trout and a lot of fish back in this region and cleaned up those streams, took the cars out of the creek and spent it back there where it's supposed to come. And we changed the law saying that the coal money had to go back into that district where it was mined. But I do think the words ring true here. And we have stepped up, and many times that the state has needed us to vote for other projects in Louisville and other places around the state. And this is why, because when you come here and you take this oath, I'm not Perry County Senator, I am a state senator. And I want people to fly in here and land in our big cities and look out their window and see the type of activities and the opportunities and the buildings that you would see in other states. That's how we compete. I know that's not going to be my district. My district offers other things, adventure tourism, et cetera. But it's silly to vote against something just because it's not coming to your area. But I share that same concept with you, because now as we're looking at what's happening in Eastern Kentucky with the outmigration, the housing issues we've seen, back-to-back floods, they've knocked out water lines this entire weekend. I left here to go see a doctor for a sinus infection and wound up taking over 100+ boxes myself of water to families and people with children or disabled, and we still couldn't get anywhere close to those areas. And Pigeon Roost, which you probably never heard of, or Lost Creek, which you probably have. There's a lot of Lost Creeks out there. But as we move forward, please do stop for a minute and realize we've cast some very important votes for the cities of this state with the idea of making sure you know we're proud of you, and that when people come, we want those venues here. But on the other side of that, this is a time of great need for the folks of Eastern Kentucky who have fueled the energies of the furnaces that have saved us during World War I, World War II. Every single large issue this country's had, they've depended on our affordability to energy to make sure that we can manufacture and work our way out of these holes. You know, everyone says that Kentucky's like a car and the engine's in Louisville. But I'm going to argue we're more like a Volkswagen. I think if you look at when Kentucky's doing well, the eastern part of the state is doing well, and we're generating a lot of coal and putting a lot of energy cheap, it's affordable, businesses come in. So I'd like for you to look at this model in a very different way. But these words ring very, very true to me as I sit here knowing that when I go back home on Friday, I will be right back, not in this suit, but back out with any of my children that will volunteer in places that are sometimes almost hard to believe at the struggle people have. And I'll say this and quit. There's a fellow was complaining to me last week from Louisville, has a 6,000 square foot house that they were cold and they were really heating their house, had heaters on. He said, Brandon, my bill was $200. And it's hard to get my mind around this because I have a letter on my desk from a lady calling me desperate, a single lady in a single wide trailer, and her bill was $800, I think $811 or something right in there. But that's a huge difference, guys. And this is something that has to be addressed by this body. So you can blame the people that came in here before you and sat in these chairs. That was on their clock. But this is on your watch. And so as this ticks forward and history moves forward with us in it, let's be aware of the fact that some parts of the state have a utility bill that's greater than their mortgage, and people are not going to go in there for industry unless we fix it. So I've said far too much, but I do want us to keep that balance and relationship of where we will help you all out when you have a big project, and then when we need it, please don't turn your back on us. Thank you.
Senator from Callaway. Oh, Senator from Perry.
Yes, I apologize. I just wanted to tell my members of Natural Resources we will be meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and I think it is room 149, I believe, but be sure to
Members,
be there.
please
Thank
take
you.
note. Senator from Callaway.
Communicate with the body, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
The Kentucky Justice Association would like to invite everybody to slip on across Shelby Street and fall in line for Low Country Bull from 5 to 8, 736 Shelby Street, just right across from the Capitol.
So we are to slip and fall on the way to the Justice Association.
It is the KJA, Mr. President. I think that was the message I was trying to convey.
You conveyed it well. I'm sure you could find a lawyer over there to represent you once you slip and fall on your way to the city.
None of our advertising for this. I just want to be on record.
Philip Wheeler has cards. Oh, excuse me. Senator from Pike has cards. Senator from Bullitt.
Announcement, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
The state and local government will meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Members, please take note. Senator from Laurel.
Co-sponsorship request.
Please continue.
With permission, the primary sponsor moved to be added as a co-sponsor to Senate Bill 153. I have the appropriate paperwork.
Please file the same without objection, so ordered. Senator from Christian.
Just an announcement, Mr. President.
Please continue.
There's a reception tonight as well, 2026 Kentucky Industry Legislative Reception at the Kentucky History Center from 5:30 to 7:30 tonight.
Members, please take note. Senator from Scott.
Oh, sorry, Mr. President. Some of my colleagues talked so long, I forgot I pushed my button.
Which one?
Co-sponsorship request, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Following the senator, leader of my other colleague, there's several here. I won't name them, but I do have the appropriate paperwork.
Please file the same without objection, so ordered. Senator from Bell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Communicate with the body.
Please continue.
There'll be a reception from 4:30 to 6:30 tonight at the Delegate Hotel, hosted by Ride Development, which is an energy group that is building a hydro electric plant in Bell County, so everyone is invited to that. Thank you.
Members, please take note. Senator from Grayson.
Announcement, Mr. President.
Please continue.
Health Services Committee meeting will meet tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We have two bills on our agenda for consideration.
Members, please take note. Senator from Marion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Announcement.
Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Transportation Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., room 131.
Members of the Transportation Committee, please take note. Senator from Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. After the senator from Scott paused for so long, I thought back to the old times when you used to confuse me as the senator from Scott, and I almost rose when you said that. Announcement, Mr. President.
Please continue.
Mr. President, as a former member of the Kentucky Magistrates and Commissioners Association, I'd like to invite everyone to their annual legislative breakfast tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in the cafeteria in the annex. They'll have several members of fiscal courts from across the Commonwealth there. Sure would like to see everybody that can stop by and visit. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Members, please take note. Senator from Taylor,
Communicate with the body, Mr. President.
please proceed.
Mr. President, we've got a lot of talent here within these legislative chamber here, as well as some staff members, but I want to comment on 3 of our constitutional pages. They were not here yesterday, so I would have made this announcement then, but they do not come to Frankfort on Mondays. But over the weekend, 3 of these young people competed on a stage at Taylor County High School as part of their show choir and drama club with the Dancing with the Cards competition. That being Hunter Farmer, Sophia Santos, and then performing a solo act was Nora Harris. Mr. President, with that, it's always for people to get up on stage can be a humbling experience and a nervous position that sometimes they're in, but they did an admirably very good job with that, and I just wanted to comment on those 3 for the talent that they have, not just the talent here that all of our constitutional pages bring to work every day here on the Senate floor, but as well as on the dance floor as well. And I'll also say that Dr. Heather Wise and son Carter Wise also competed and didn't win, and this was the 9th annual competition, but 8 years ago, the senator from Taylor here won the competition with his daughter Grayson. Sometimes I don't just have karaoke skills, Mr. President, but also on the dance floor, I can represent my district very well. But with that, Mr. President, congratulations to these 3 for their competition, but the trophy still is in our house in Campbellsville. Thank you, Mr. President.
Could these 3 constitutional pages please stand up? Let us recognize them and congratulate them. Senator from Campbell.
I feel like I should sing after that. Or maybe dance. Yes, Mr. President. In order to minimize confusion, next Wednesday, February 18th, is Ash Wednesday. And I wanted to invite all to the Ash Wednesday service in the annex, room 171. It will be at 11:30, and we will do our best to stay very focused in 11:30 to 11:55, and all are welcome.
Members, please take note. Seeing no other person seeking recognition, we will go on to introduction of floor amendments. Mr. Clerk, do you have a report? Please report.
Senate Floor Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 160, Senator Carroll.
Does that conclude your report?
It does.
Then let's go to introduction of new bills and resolutions. Are there any filings?
Yes, there are.
Please continue.
New bills and resolutions. Senate Bill 178, an act relating to environmental administrative regulations, Senator Elkins. Senate Bill 179, an act relating to sex-based classifications, Senator Tishner. Senate Resolution 95, a resolution urging the United States Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate and prosecute individuals implicated in criminal activities related to the Jeffrey Epstein files and recognizing the efforts of Kentucky's own Representative Thomas Massie in securing their public release. Senator Tishner.
Does that conclude your report?
It does.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next order of business is adjournment. Prior to that motion, Chair would recognize anyone seeking recognition to bring any other business before this body. Seeing none. Senator from Taylor, do you have a motion?
Mr. President, I do. I move that the Senate adjourn until 2 p.m. Wednesday, February 11th, year of our Lord, 2026.
Without objection, the Senate shall stand adjourned until the hour of 2 p.m. Wednesday, February 11th, year of our Lord, 2026.